Good evening, Mount Vernon Democrats. It's so great to join you. And you know, everywhere I've been going around the Commonwealth, the rooms are bursting. People are angry, but people are ready to fight and to work. In fact, in Chesterfield County, just a few weeks ago, the fire marshal had to close our room because we had too many people ready to fight Trump. So I am so delighted to be here. I'm State Senator Ghazala Hashmi. I have the honor of representing the city of Richmond and Chesterfield County. I am in my second term in office, and I also have the honor of chairing our Committee on Education and Health. And I'm here tonight to share a little bit about myself, about why I ran, and why I'm running now for Lieutenant Governor. You see, I used to be a mild-mannered English professor. So if you know anything about English professors, they are absolutely not mild-mannered. We teach the books that other people want to ban. And we are here fighting for all of those critical issues that are so critically important. I spent almost 13 years in the college classroom, and I taught American literature. That's my area of specialization. I taught the foundational text of this democracy, the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, all of the philosophy of Ralph Waldo Emerson, the poetry of Walt Whitman, and I taught my students this idea of America, this idea that holds us, that informs who and what we are, no matter our ethnicity, our religion, where we came from, who we love, this idea that is at the core and the heart of everything we believe in. And then 2016 happened. 2016 happened, and a man named Donald Trump somehow became our president, and I felt my world rock. I felt like the ground had been shaken under my feet because I didn't recognize the country. And I couldn't look at my students in the face when I've been teaching civil disobedience and teaching my students that we fight for justice, we fight for each other. Suddenly we had a man in the White House who was denying all of that reality. I didn't know if I could tell my students anymore that this idea of America still existed. And I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to do something, especially as a Muslim American. If you will recall that Donald Trump rode into the White House promising a policy on a Muslim ban. It was the first executive order that he implemented immediately after the inauguration. And one day, as I was driving into my office, I got into the parking lot, and I just felt the world had fallen out from underneath my feet. I had heard the story on NPR that morning that Donald Trump wanted to institute a Muslim registry. He wanted every single Muslim in this country to be documented and to tracked. Well, we're here again, sadly, aren't we? We have the creation of registries, we have the tracking of individuals, and that is that moment in 2017 when I heard that story. I felt like I didn't have any options anymore. I couldn't stay in my classroom, I couldn't be quiet anymore, I couldn't be invisible. I actually had to speak up. I had to stand up. I had to stand out. And I decided to run for a seat that had been in Republican hands for 30 years. There was a Republican incumbent, and people told me, Ghazala, don't even try. You're a political novice. You're an immigrant. You're a Muslim. And you're a woman. You don't have a chance. Well, guess what? Not only did we win a competitive primary, but we went on to win that general election. We flipped that red sea blue. We flipped it by almost 10 points that year. And when we flipped that seat, we brought brought in the Democratic majority into the Senate. One seat made that difference. We also brought in the trifecta under Governor Northam. One seat made a difference. We were able to pass all of the critical legislation that's protecting us now: gun safety regulation, workers' protections on reproductive health care, so many great environmental bills, and we were also able to pass critical legislation to protect public education. And you know, 2 years later, when we lost the House, we lost the majority, and Governor Youngkin came into office, guess what? That one seat continued to protect us. It protected us from all of the efforts that Youngkin has been making for 4 years now to roll back gun safety, to attack women's reproductive health care, and to dismantle public education. I have the honor of serving as chair of that committee. We have killed every bill. We make Youngkin look good because the public doesn't understand. They don't see those bills where he has tried to privatize public education. He has tried to create charter schools. He has created tip lines, snitch lines against our teachers. He has done everything he can to attack the integrity of the issues and the values that we hold dear. And so I am running for Lieutenant Governor. After 6 years in the Virginia Senate, the Senate is my home. The LG is the president of the Senate. There are things left to do. There's work that I still want to do. I want to ensure that we have the majority. I want to keep us moving forward. And this is going to be the critical election that once again sends a rebuke to Donald Trump. Your policies will not hold in Virginia. We are going to be fighting back. We are going to represent the true essence of our American democracy. And I would be so honored to have your vote tonight. I would be tremendously honored to have your support in June. Let's do this. Let's make sure that Virginia continues in the direction that protects and preserves all that we hold dear for ourselves and for our children. Thank you so much, Vernon.